Just going to try and chant two Gayatri mantras, which always I like to begin with. The one for Lord Ganesha to help us remove our obstacles, physical obstacles, mental obstacles. He can help us to break through that inertia. To let's walk, let's get on with things. Let's get out of the bed in the morning, to sit up, to meditate, to breathe, to do our pranayama, maybe to do our hatha yoga. Then we need to also move on to do our day-to-day life tasks. And then the second Gayatri is for our Guru. All these great, amazing yoga Guru, these divine souls, who have spread the words, the love, the wisdom of yoga for humanity. Just enjoy the sounds if you like. Ganesaya vidmahe vakratundaya dhimahi tanno dantahi prachodayate. Om tatparampariyaya vidmahe Jnanalingeswaraya dhimahi tanno guruhu prachodayate. Let's begin. Some of you might like to stay in meditation, that's fine. You can open your eyes, just enjoy the time. And towards the end, I will give you a bit of time if you have any questions, anything you want to ask. But as I'm talking through, if you feel that there is something relevant that not getting into your head, please just raise your hand and it's fine to ask as long as you keep smiling. Okay, so I thought the first thing I really wanted to begin with understanding a very basic meaning of yoga. And then why do we do yoga? Why is it this whole thing is about I want to do yoga, I want to learn or I want to practice yoga. So what do I get from it? What am I looking for? So the yogic philosophy, the yogic practices, really to begin with, we need to understand that there are two different aspects of us which are leading us into what we call the duality. So duality is like the two extremes. Now the two extremes you can see easily, there is a pain, there is a pleasure. I like it, I don't like it. It's for me, it's not for me. It's hot, it's cold. It's going up, it's going down. So when we have these two extremes, the two opposites, going upward, going downward, positive, negative, or higher, lower, it creates that what we have, the I, the asmita, the ego. And that this I and asmita, the ego, that is what really covers your soul, your purusa, your paramatman, or your atman, into what we have, the aham, me, I. Because we all know that there is a pure essence, there is a pure soul, there is a pure truth, that wisdom, you all have that Atman that's there, that's eternal. And the Atman is eternal in a way that whatever you do, all your pain, pleasure, good, bad, you like it, don't like it, it's unaffected, nothing has any influence on it. But then why are we still suffering? Because the Atman is covered, it's joined, it's infused between our ego and I. And that is what makes you aham, me, I. So if you think, what is me? Some of you might say, I'm Atman. But in reality, in material, in physical reality where we are not Atman, are we? because that's not something we're experiencing. Think of different states of your conscious mind. In one reality, we all exist here. So if you all are awake here, you got your eyes open, you got your ears open, you're listening, you're watching, you're seeing. This is our reality. But if you all close your eyes, then all this does not exist, does it? So maybe materially you think it exists, but in your conscious, in your awareness, in your consciousness, it's all unreal. And then in the next moment, if you fall asleep, even that experience of things are still there is gone. And then maybe if you go a little bit more deeper, you are into a state of dream. Now I don't know what's your favorite dream. Maybe you want to spend a day with the queen, or you had the dream, the best meal where you want to go and enjoy your meal, or maybe some of us got the fear, the dogs chasing us in the dream. Now tell me, when you're dreaming that, you can't really say it's not real. So these different states are real. So when we're talking about the real me, is really I, what I believe, what I have created around it. So to understand what yoga really does, what these yogic practices, these yogic principles, these yogic ideas, or the yogic philosophical concepts do for us, they help us to find our way to free ourselves from our I, which is me, the mind, all the chitvritis, all the ego, all these karmic bondages, so I can find my union with the self, with Atman. And I guess that's what leads you into Satchidananda, that's what leads you into the joyfulness, that eternal, that higher place, higher joyfulness. And that's why every time I see you all, I keep reminding you, keep smiling. Because the minute you create that smile, minute you create that, what Patanjali talks about, the tool is the mudita, he said, be cheerful. Wow, you removed half of the obstacles, haven't you? So if you want to get rid of miseries, what you need to do, he said, simple thing, just be happy. Now, my Guru Gvitananda, he had this beautiful concept. He said, every human being, every living being that's being born into the body has equal rights, the full rights to be healthy and to be happy. So we all have the rights to be healthy, to be happy, and that is your birthright. But then he says, you need to make sure that you go out and claim it. So if you want to be happy, he said, the simple thing is, make sure you do everything that makes you happy. But he said, what you might think making you happy might not actually be good for you. So he expands that concept into a little bit more into what in Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. What you might feel or what you might think is good for you might not actually be right in the situation. And that's why we're all looking for everything in the universe, everything in your life is perfect as long as it is in the right place. You're doing your headstand in a Hatha Yoga class, it's amazing, but if you jump off on the middle of the motorway and stop your car in the middle and say, look guys, this is the only way to be healthy and happy if I do my headstand and this is what I'm doing. It's not the right place, is it? Or maybe you invite a couple of friends for a meal and say, oh, in the morning I'm just reading this book on fasting and the only way to be really healthy and happy by fasting. So let's sit down on the dining table and fast. And I'm using these much nicer examples today. So sometimes even the good things might not right be into the wrong time. So he said to be happy, you got to do everything that makes you happy. But you remember the happiness and health are not individual. So even though we're talking about self, we talk about Atman, but the Atman is not individual, it's also part of the Paramatman, the higher universe. So then the self is not just I. So when you talk about health and happiness, let's just take another example. I'm sure lots of you got kids. If your child is not happy, or if your child wake up with a fever, how would you feel? So health and happiness, even though we talk about self, but remember it's actually also have the universal, they're more like a humanistic, more of a social family expansion. So when we think about, okay, I want to do everything that makes me happy, but we also need to keep in mind how does that, what makes me happy is going to influence me, then my family, then my society, then my country, then my earth. You might think, oh, so many trees up onto the mountain. If I cut them, I can go out and sell them, and I can go out and enjoy my shopping. That can be happiness for someone, isn't it? But then you go to think, well, would that affect Mother Earth? How would that affect my environment? Would I get clean air? Would I be able to sustain my ecosystem? So Swamiji said, you need to do everything that makes you happy, but make sure that happiness is universal. It's not just what makes me happy. What might make me happy if I would have just stayed in bed and lie down and sleep while you're all sitting here, or someone's coming here to talk. Sometimes we all have that lethargy, we all have the inertia, I can just stay in bed. But if you got the work to do, if you got your dharma, your duties to fulfill, then we need to seek the happiness in those duties, in our day-to-day life events. So make sure do everything that makes you happy. Make sure you do everything that makes you healthy. And that's why, Patanjali in the first sutra says, Atha Yoga Anusasanam. He does not talk about samadhi, he does not talk about anything else. Said, first thing we need to learn to walk on the path of discipline. So that means you need to do everything that need to be done. So maybe sometime you need to actually clean up all the dishes before you put the kettle on for a cup of tea. And that can be your yoga practice, that can be your sadhana. And I guess lots of people struggle in day-to-day life because somehow we have fantasized ourselves that being spiritual is just walking barefoot, soft and floating up on the grass, and I don't have to do anything. But maybe being spiritual, you need to do them more. You might even need to clean somebody else's dishes too, if someone can't do it. So it's doing everything, following all the practices, and that is the discipline Patanjali talks about, Artha Yoga Anusasanam. Let's live that discipline, let's do our duties, let's get things done. And that's the only way to me when I think about how do I claim my happiness, how do I claim my health? Or if I walk past and smile at you, you're all going to smile at me. And if you walk past just looking down, miserable and just tense and big ego, and you're all going to walk past me ignoring. And I don't know how would that benefit you. So the first thing we need to really, before we go anywhere into the deeper concepts, some of the practices we're going to follow for a while, just be mindful that this joyfulness, this happiness you can radiance from within, that discipline you can radiance from within, it can manifest, it can transform everything around you. And remember that state of mind we live in, each state has its own reality, even the material reality will change with it. As earlier I was telling you all, you're waking, so everything exists, you close your eyes, everything disappeared. You're listening while your ears are open. If you close your ears, all the sounds disappear. Or maybe your mind is gone into what sort of pizza you like to eat. In that moment, it doesn't matter what I say here, does it? So, as the states of your mind changing, our actual reality, material reality, that also change with it. And I guess that's why Patanjali begins with talking about all these mental activities, the mental side of our existence, because once you change that, then hopefully the material reality, your relations, your families, your people around you, you suddenly see everyone is happy. You suddenly see everyone just smiling. I can tell you, it's not people smiling, you just opened yourself to look at people who are smiling. You open yourself to look at people who are talking nice things. And that's why Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that you have these 5 sense organs, and remember each sense organ has its own duty, its own dharma to fulfill, and you can't control that. So if I light incense, you want it or not, your nose has to smell it. If you put food in your mouth, it's the duty of your tongue that it has to taste it, even if it doesn't matter how hard you tell yourself, oh, I don't want to taste it. I don't want to have the flavors. Oh, you get the flavors. If you have eyes open, you look around, you see all these beautiful people. But he says we have the discipline of choosing, making the choice, where do I go, what do I listen, where do I open my eyes, what kind of people I choose. And I guess that's where the discipline, the first part of practice, he talks about, let's follow the discipline. And once you follow the discipline, he said, now let's be nice to ourselves. And that's why, Patanjali, he said, yogas chitta vrati nirodha. So he does not say, let's control our mind, because mind is not your enemy. And if you think the mind is something really wrong with you, maybe that's why we struggle. Mind is not your enemy. It gives you the force to actually do everything. Can you see yourself walking up and down mindless, aimless, goalless, egoless? And I can promise, if some of you think, oh, I don't have ego, including me, okay, I'm with you too in this. So if you're thinking like, oh, I don't have ego because I do yoga. If you would not have ego, just think, what force do you have that brings you here? What force I have that brings me here to talk about this? It's the positive ego. Now, obviously, the way kind of our life has gone in last sort of 60, 70 years, we have taken some of the things, we only reading or we only talking about the negative side of them. Same thing, like discipline seems to be one of the negative thing for lots of people, because it's being forced so much either by our parents or our family, our society, our education system, our political governance system, that we're being told, we're being controlled, we have been kind of, you can say that we're not left with choices we can make. So lots of people say like, oh, why do I do discipline? I just want to be free. But in reality, if you can turn yourself around and look at, really the only freedom you have is freedom to choose the discipline you're going to follow. That's the only freedom we have. And really that's what makes you free. So once you've done your duty, once you've done your dharma, you are free. Because you're not worrying about anything. You can relax, you can, just chill on your sofa. So Patanjali says, yoga chitta vrati nirodha. So following that discipline hopefully can lead us into still or quieter state of our mind. So it's a state we want to get to. And I guess that's what really expands our awareness, understanding of yoga. So yoga is goal. So in goal in sense of either you can say samadhi, a quiet mind, a meditative mind, a focused, single-pointed mind, a happy, joyful mind. But then yoga can also be seen as a path. Now what do I do as a discipline that gradually can lead me there? And remember here, please remember, if he was that easy to be enlightened, if it was that easy to be meditation, we all would have been enlightened by now. And I guess anything that is easy and too cheap, we don't really value them anyway, do we? If you really worked hard and you done everything that brings you the ice cream to look at and to enjoy, you appreciate it. And if someone just gives you the whole tub of ice cream, after 1 minute it's just like, don't like it. So we got to invest, we got to value. So that discipline, if we can follow that, if we can channel, we can intune ourselves into some of these practices, some of these ideas, some of these concepts. Hopefully we can lead ourselves, we can gradually attain that state of still or quieter mind, that higher mind. I guess to me, when I think what do I do on a first place? I would say swadhyaya, self-study, introspection, self-inquiry. Can you have a minute every day? Honestly, I don't ask people to like spend half an hour or a couple of hours. Just 1 minute every day and ask yourself, who am I? And when you ask yourself, please, please don't answer it. Don't read the scriptures, don't read the books. I am soul, I am divine. Just listen, what does your mind say, tell you? You might say, oh, I'm just ice cream, I just fancy ice cream, I fancy a cup of tea, I'm lunch, I'm dinner, I just fancy a walk. And to me, that is what the first classical definition of yoga is, not doing, it's being. Can I be where I am? Can I do everything mindfully? So if it's cup of tea time, can I actually enjoy a cup of tea instead of worrying about what's happening on Facebook? What's happening to my friends? Why can't we trust the universe? Why do we have to worry about things? And the things we can't control anyway. That's what Lord Krishna says. And we all know that you can't control your life. You can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. You might have left your partner. If he's going to run or she is going to run away with someone, oh, they're going to run away anyway. Why do you have to worry about it? Why can't we face the life challenges, life problems, as and when they come? Because worrying is actually manifesting. We are creating that state of mind which is gradually manifesting reality in our life. So why do we have to worry? Why do you have to cause the pain of something which is not real? And if it happens, let's deal with it as and when it comes. So being aware, being mindful, and living into every moment into your day-to-day life. And to me, that is the highest state of Chittasya Vritti Nirodha. So can I seize my mind? Can I hold my mind still in everything I do? If I'm teaching, can I just teach? Don't worry about, what's going to happen. How do people judge? I've done my best. If you have done your best, oh, you can't do more than that. Why would you worry? Why would you worry how people judging me? And it's kind of not really your problem anyway, is it? Let people judge. It's their job. Why do we have to worry like what people thinking? Maybe only thing we need to really take our mind inward is think, see, what are you thinking? And how does that benefit you? And there's so many now kind of, I'm loving the way science is moving forward now, the way the neuroscience especially, and then the quantum science and endocrine science, they take on things so amazingly. And if you put things in perspective, the Yoga Sutras and then the neuroscience, to me, Patanjali, he was a neuroscientist, but he just has a different terms. He said, what goes in your mind, your body responds to it. And that's what science is saying, that the highest, the deepest, the worst level of toxicity you can create in your body is caused by emotions. Now, it's such an amazing system. Honestly, I love thinking about this body. I don't ever say, get rid of it, it's the obstacle. It's not obstacle, it's one of the most complicated system, a factory that exists in this universe. So your body can produce any chemical, any drug you want to experience. So if you feel, I want to experience hallucination, you don't need to spend money, you just need to think, repeat the thought enough times, and your body will produce all the chemicals that can lead you into that hallucinated state. And I believe that's why lots of people compare the drugs, they prefer, I just go and take bhang or marijuana or some of the drugs to feel hallucinated. Why would I go into the transcendental states of yoga? So your body can produce any chemical, any experience that your mind can think. So if you're constantly worrying, living in fear, living in negative emotions, negative feelings, or it's pumping all those hormones like adrenaline or oxytocin, which is there to combat with a stressful situation. So it is good when you are actually in stress, when you're in panic. It helps you to run, it helps you to fight, it helps you to flight. But when there is no panic, and if it becomes constant flow, it's also stressing your heart, stressing your digestive system, stressing your breathing, It just never comes back to its ease, is it? Now the external poisons you can get, your body does have all the systems to clean it. So your body has the kidneys, because somehow, was one of the Indian jokes that why... Oh, it's not me. I thought it's my nad is awakening. Sorry guys to disappoint you all. So, just going into the nad. So if you're thinking, if you're creating that thought, if you're creating that energy, now the constant burden your heart, your systems are going through, is just going to disturb what we have, the homeostasis. And again in yoga we have the same term, in the Sankhya yoga we use the spanda nispanda. So your health system, your psychological and your mind system are infused into each other, your body systems. And your body and your mind like to actually go out and do things. But once they have done what needed to be done, they also like to come back and chill out and enjoy a cup of tea. Let's not say meditation, it's like to just come back and enjoy a cup of tea, or just like to have a half an hour nap, or maybe a couple of hours sleep. This is the natural process. If you don't do exercise, just stay in bed all day, every day, how long are you going to have the healthy body, would you, or even mind? If you don't go out and do your work need to be done, how long are you going to be healthy? So our body actually has the natural inbuilt system. The minute sun comes out, it releases all the hormones, all the chemicals that makes it to be active, to go out and do things. And then as the light goes, as your body goes into tamas, as your body goes into inertia, it shuts everything down and lets sleep. Just go, but I'm afraid that's not enough for your health, is it? Sometimes it's nice to also sit back and say, let's not go. Let's stop. Let's enjoy the moment. Let's enjoy the things. Just think about your meal. You work hard to cook your meal, but once you've done it, what do you need to do next? You do need to sit down and enjoy every bit of your food goes in your mouth, in your stomach. Cooking is not enough to enjoy it, is it? If you keep cooking and not eating it, how long your health going to last? How long are you going to enjoy it? So doing is the one part, but actually being, allowing the benefits, allowing the things to come to you. Now the third thing we can also think, we can talk, we can look into a bit. As we already talked about, that we don't have control on what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't have control on fruits, do we? You can't sense them. You can go out and prepare your garden as nice as you like. You can put the seeds in, you can look after them, you can give them compost, you can give them everything a plant needs. But still, you don't have the control on the fruit. You might get it, or if the weather is not too nice, especially in West Wales, we experience that so much. You grow your cabbages, and if for the week you're going to pick them up, if it keeps raining, all the slugs and all the creatures will come and enjoy, have the party. Or maybe you got a beautiful fruit tree in your garden, but if the week it's flowering, it's blossoming, you have a torrential rain or a storm, all the flowers might just not come. You might have no fruit. You don't have control on the fruit, so then why do we worry about it? And that's what Lord Krishna says about Karma Yoga. He said, do your best and leave the rest. But he said, make sure you actually do your best. Not just chilling out all the time. Swamiji has this amazing term, lots of people like to be a bag of potatoes on a couch. And they still want to be happy, they still want to be healthy. And that's where Patanjali brings another simple concept, simple idea. He said, Abhyasa. Practice. Practice things you know. And he says so beautifully, he said for him, ignorance, the people who does not know, he said he doesn't worry too much about them. He's more worried about people who actually know but not practicing it. So if you don't know you're allergic to something, it doesn't matter, does it? But if you know that you're allergic to gluten, you're allergic to dairy, you're allergic to certain meats, you're allergic to certain foods, and if you're still eating it, to me it's wrong. If you don't know what is right and wrong, then you're not actually doing anything wrong. You're just doing what you know, how you know it. Because if you look at the physical structure of us, we have this inbuilt biological needs, which gives us the force, which gives us the drive to go out, live, and do everything. So if some of you might think, it might conflict you for a few minutes, which is fine. I love conflicting, I love sort of challenging all a bit. Most of us think the desires are one of the obstacles in our life. I'm driven of desires. Desires are causing all the problems, all the pain. But then there is also another desire that leading you into happiness. The desire that I want to practice yoga, desire I want to meditate, desire that I want to be free. So you can't just say desires are just causing pain, can you? So desires are not really pain. The Vedantic, the yogic scriptures, the yogic practices, the Sanatana Dharma, the Hindu Dharma, I said, if you can learn how to worship, how to fulfill your desires without causing pain, and that's why Patanjali begins with yamas. If you think he would have begun with something else, but he did not, did he? He did not begin with samadhi. He begins his first practice as the moral or ethical foundation, the virtuous foundation of our personality. And to me, I believe he began like that because he knows that we all are human beings and we have the duty to sustain this life process. Oh, come on, tell me, if you all decide, whole world from today, which might be good for us for a few years, if we all decide that we're going to be celibates. How long the life will last? So it is also our duty, isn't it, to actually go through all the process to produce, to create the new life. So the life processes goes on, and we sustain this ecosystem. But we need to work out how do I fulfill it. There is a biological need that you need to eat food. You need to eat something healthy that keeps you healthy, keeps you strong, that gives you enough energy to do all your dharmas, to fulfill all your duties. But then if you learn how to eat, you are fine, aren't you? If you know, first thing you need to do, you need to work, earn, to pay the bills, to buy your food. Then you think, okay, what I'm eating, is it good for my body? It is good for my mind, good for my soul. It's not causing pain, it's not causing discomfort on somebody else. Any other life systems. Then would you feel bad about it that I have eaten my food? You will feel happy, you will feel contented. You have a desire, I want to have a nice car. So having that desire is not bad. Maybe some of us say, okay, I'm being material. But if you're being material in a holistic, in a spiritual way, it's fine. Well, you need car. How would I get to see Debbie next time if I don't have a car? But if I'm working, if I'm doing my dharma, if I'm doing my duties to earn, so I can go out and pay my bills, I'm not, just walking around and saying, oh, I can see you left your keys in your car. There you go, jump in the car and off I go. Then it's wrong. So the Vedantic, the Vedic, the Sankhya Yoga explains that the first thing we need to learn before we can transcend them, before we can renounce them, we need to find out how do we fulfill, how do I have them. But can I have them without causing pain, without stealing, without lying, without manipulating, without causing pain to other people? And can I also have everything that I have with grace, with gratitude? Can I be appreciative? Instead of being egotistic, oh, I've done this, so this is why I got it. But still it's nice to be actually humble, nice to be grateful for it. Because to me, these simple virtues, when you have them, it naturally draws you in your heart. So if you want to feel gratitude, you got to go in your heart, otherwise you can't feel it. If you want to feel love, you got to go in. If you want to feel happy, you got to go in. So that's what, Patanjali again, he explains another really beautifully way about the two ways we can look at ourselves. We can look at ourselves in object reference, where we start comparing ourselves, clothes, house, partners, relations, families, houses, money, job, power. But all those things are temporary because they're changing, they're transforming. That causes fear, isn't it? That creates instability in your own self. Because it's unknown, you don't know if it's going to be there tomorrow or not. We don't know what material things, for material things are changing. Then we have the subjective, the self-reference, where you look at yourself from your own perspective. So I did this yesterday and I'm doing it today again. Am I doing it a little bit better? Am I seeing myself growing? Am I doing anything good for myself? And when you look at yourself from self-perspective, self-reference, then every day you got something to be appreciative. You got something to be happy. You got something to tell, I have done it. Otherwise, we're looking at ourselves. Honestly, that's the thing we all think. I'm really amazing in thinking, but 90% time, we don't think. We just think what we can think. Or most of the time we're thinking what you all are thinking about me. What that person is thinking, what that person said, how would that affect me? If I say this, how would these people take? So 90% time our thoughts are just created with what's being put into us. And that's why earlier I was telling you, can you ask yourself for a minute every day, who am I? Soham, Koham. But when you ask, can you not answer it? Because I know we're desperate to answer. We like to, we all are just like, oh, who is asking me next thing so I can answer? It's one of the amazing practice. I find it amazing. Like, can you ask something and leave yourself the space not to answer it? And that's what Patanjali says, in your day-to-day life, if you want to be happy, if you want to be free from mental problems, that can you create space between the stimulus and your reaction? Don't jump into conclusions. Don't react to things. Now, I know it's not easy. It's not easy because there is the two systems we have. We have the spinal memory in our spine, which carries all the reptilian or the animal behavior patterns. And it's there for its own reason. It's there to keep you safe. So it always has that first reaction. If your hand touches to the fire, it jumps off. If you something chasing to you, the first reaction, that person is not stronger than me, you get your hands up to punch. And if you see the person is stronger than you, your feet are ready to run. That's the spinal, that's the animal response we all have inbuilt in us. And that is there. Please don't take it that it's wrong. It's not wrong. It's there for its own reason. Similarly, like your hormones we were talking earlier, they are there for a reason. If they are into the right situation, they are doing amazingly good for your health and well-being. But if they are there when you don't need them, now the problem we got here, your brain does not really have much of understanding what is real and what is not real. It has maybe, so some of the neuroscientists are saying it sort of analyze it 20% difference. So if it's real, it has a bit more stronger foundation. When it's unreal, it believes in it maybe little lesser. But still, your brain responds to both the things that are lost money and when you actually lost it in a similar way. You are happy, and when you're thinking you are happy, your brain is responding to both the thoughts. When it's actually happening, you make something you're happy about, or when you're just sitting there and thinking, oh, I'm happy. It's releasing exactly same chemical, same hormone that need to bring that experience. So he said, can we create a little gap? Now what that does, so now your stimulus, your message, your sense organ receiving, it goes into your spine to take the first decision, then it goes to your brain. Now the scientists are saying there is like a 1/10 fraction of second. That's how extra time it takes for the same stimulus to reach from your spine into your brain. But then brain takes another, it can be anywhere from a fraction of a second to a couple of minutes, where it analyzes it, and that analysis process, think if you're searching something on your hard drive where you got millions of photos, and you're just looking for one right image, one right photo, you want to put it on your wall. How long it can take? I don't know, sometimes it can take hours, sometimes it can take days or weeks. So he said, create the gap between your reaction and your action. So if you allow that time, then hopefully the answer will come to you. But if you have reacted, if you already got it out, you can't take it back. That's the problem. You know, if someone walking past and said something to you, you reacted before analyzing it, you just can't take it back. It's gone. Then you got to deal with the same problem with multi-minds. If the problem, the issue, the something that you're not getting, something you're not understanding, it's in you, it's only one mind to deal. If you talk to 100 people, the minute you put out on the Facebook that, oh, I'm just struggling today, I got emotional problem. Now, in hour or 2 hours, you might have forgotten, but everywhere you're going to go, all your friends going to ask, are you all right? How is your mental health? How is your emotions? How is your husband? How is your wife? How is your children? They're going to constantly keep reminding. So then you got to actually fix not only yourself, but you also got to fix all those minds. So he said, don't let yourself react and put things out that there is no reason to put them out. Wait for the right time. Or allow the answers to come. And sometimes, maybe if something we can't see, that why is it there, it doesn't mean really the things may be there for no reason, or things are wrong. Maybe we can't see it. But then on next level, we also need to remember, we can't let people walk all over us. So he said that don't react. Give yourself time, and once you understood, once you analyze it, it is also your responsibility to act. And that's why Patanjali said the yamas and niyamas, those simple virtuous values, you practice them to yourself before you go out. So ahimsa, the kindness, the love, the compassion, you need to be in yourself. You need to be kind to yourself. And sometimes, I do believe, and I've seen it many times, your kindness can be actually standing up in middle of people with a big stick, with your eyes wide open, and doing a big shout to shake someone off, like, hang on, you're standing on my feet, you're trying to be very abusive. It is also your responsibility to protect yourself, to look after yourself, to love yourself. And love is always not being airy-fairy, not just always stroking. Sometimes you need to shake up. So he said, practice them to yourself. It is your responsibility to look after, to protect your own health, your own well-being, your own spirit, your own possessions. And he said, then you also practice them towards others. So the strength, the courage, the value, the virtues you have, they're not to cause pain to other people. And he said, then you practice them universally in each and every situation. You can't be selective. Okay, these are my friends, I'm going to be very kind to them. These are the people I can be nasty. These are people I can shout. You can't classify, create a category of people. It has to be universal. And I love this simple concept from Patanjali, because you can see actually sometimes we also allow things to happen. And if you're allowing things to happen, you are also responsible. If someone is being nasty, someone is being abusive, and you're just still smiling because you think that is my non-violence, because I am practicing ahimsa, I need to smile. Well, you're giving permission to people, that's fine, carry on. Isn't it better off to just shake people off in the first instance, in the first moment, so they don't go anywhere further? But if it's your action, then you don't feel guilty, do you? If you see your child is doing something wrong, sometimes you say, come on darling, stop doing it. Then you say, had enough, stop it. Then you might stretch your eyes, then you might even have a newspaper rolled into your hand to bang onto the floor. But you're doing that to prevent a bigger misery. Same thing you need to do sometime. You need to roll the newspaper, you need to hold the stick, you need to hold your spirit to shake people up. Because otherwise you come back home and all you're just thinking, dreaming all night, I wish I could have punched on the person's face. It's just the truth. You can't deny that. And that's why Vedantic or the yogic wisdom, it talks about different levels of consciousness. And you got to work through each one of them. But can we do that with kindness? Can we shout at someone with kindness? I'm sure you can. If you're not reacting, then it is your actually kindness. You know, if I'm driving too fast and it's just going over the bend, if someone stops me and say, hang on, if you go like this on the bend, you're not going to be able to stop. Maybe for a minute I might feel like, who are you to tell me that? But hopefully once I get to that bend, I might realize like, actually I was being wrong. So it is your responsibility to look after, to protect, to keep your own health and harmony safe. So doing it to yourself, doing it to other people, and not allowing people to do the things that you can prevent. And I will finish with this is a simple story from Bhagavad Gita. As I can see the boys down there just pointing their fingers up to me. Thank God that you got all these amazing orange t-shirts, and when people are orange, I can't really tell them like, oh, it's fine. 5 minutes means 5 minutes. Okay, so coming back to in this instance, in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, one of the epic war, I'm sure you all must have heard about the story of these 5 brothers and the 100 brothers getting in middle of battlefield to fight for their rights. Now there is one side of righteousness, the people actually have the right, they deserved to have their part of kingdom. The other half were being very greedy, so they were trying to just get rid of them. And in that event, and at the end of the war, when Bhima, the one of the brother of Pandavas, he killed Duryodhana. And because Duryodhana, he had one of these siddhis, one of these masteries, that only part he could be killed into that battle by hitting him around his thighs. With the battle they were fighting, in that battle, you're not actually allowed to hit into that area. Anyway, Lord Krishna pointed to him like, this is what you need to do to kill him. So the elder brother of Lord Krishna, he comes in that tent and he said, I'm going to kill you all because you have done it wrong, you have done the trickery. So Lord Krishna kind of smiles at him and he said, what do you think you are? Who are you to say that? And he said, in the whole battle, this cruelty, this killing, this blood you all have caused, I'm the only one who actually stayed neutral. I'm the only one who did not participate in the war. And Lord Krishna looks at him again with a cheeky smile and said, listen, when it comes to choose right and wrong, there are only 2 choices, there is no third choice. And it is true. When it comes to make the choices for our health and well-being, our evolution, our peace, our love, I don't see there is no third choice. There is only 2 choices. Either we can be right or we cannot be right. Either we can do the right things or we don't do them. So even if you're not doing them, that's also actually doing wrong things. It's like children, you know, I'm not happy with you, mom, today, I'm not eating. So make sure that things, the practices, the principles, ideas you know, please make sure you practice them. Do things you know. And keep growing this inner happiness, keep allowing this harmony, this love to manifest. Because we get in our life what we ask for, what we look for. If you're looking for love, you get love. If you're looking for hatred, if you're looking for problems, you're just going to get problems. So stop looking for them. And maybe when I face them, hopefully I will have enough left in me anyway to battle with them. think I will stop here. If anyone had any questions, anything you want to ask or share, it's a really good time. And then we also got some books and things if you all want to have a look around with Marcio there in the middle.
What are your 3 favourite healthy foods?
What my 3 favorite healthy foods? If you ask me personally, cakes, cakes and cakes. No. It is a very subjective answer and you can't make it universal. Okay, that's the kind of simplest way I can ask. So what I do, if someone asks me about food, ideally if you can be vegetarian, that's a bonus. Because scientifically, our body does not have all those strong enzymes or the bacteria we need to digest some of the animal food we eat. The second thing also, when you're eating animal food, then remember that each and every cell that exists in this universe, it also has its own memory. So if you think that your hand is only controlled by the memory of your brain, no, it also has the memory in different muscles. It also has the part memories which are in each and every cell. So if you're eating somebody else's second-hand food, you're also eating those memories, and those memories going to also manifest in you then. So I would say that's the only thing I advise, if you can be. But still, as I earlier said, make sure you do your best and leave the rest. So maybe, if you never had choice what to eat, maybe you've grown up in a family that every meal, breakfast, lunch and dinner, there has to be meat. First thing you need to do, you don't need to feel guilty about your life situation. Because that has its own reason, that why you were in that situation. But once you understand, then maybe you can gradually change your diet. And when you're changing the diet, you need to do lots of reflective work. You need to study so much that what your body can digest, how you can gradually shift yourself into a different food, different lifestyle. And I love one of the Ayurveda, I forgot the name of the author, it's someone from UK, can't remember the name, but she says something really simple, that if you are vegetarian, all you need to do when you look at your food, just see if you got 7 colors on your plate. And if you got 7 colors, you got all the vitamins, all the proteins, all the nutrients, all the enzymes your body need to be healthy. And then on top of that, everything you eat, give yourself a couple of hours to see how your body is actually responding to it. Do you feel lethargic? Do you feel heavy? Do you feel like, oh, I can't do anything? That means it's not really good food for you. Or do you feel like you suffer with constipation? Do you suffer with gas? Do you feel with bloated tummy or constipation? That means there is something wrong into that food. So I personally prefer, like, if you use your own self-analysis and go through things, see what your body needs and how do you process, how do you digest that food, and is it enough to give you the energy. And 7 colors on the plate is the simplest way you can put it together.